Hello everyone and welcome to Chip and Chase, the NRL Fan Podcast. My name is Steve and this is Dave. Hey Dave.
Hi Stevie, how are you mate?
Doing well. This is episode 18 of, episode 19 of the podcast, and we're going to be reviewing games from round 16 and then previewing the games from round 17, which is only a few of them because there are quite a few buys. And then we're going to be looking at Game 3 of the State of Origin series for 2022. So, interesting time of the year.
Wow, round 17 already, mate. By the time this Origin's over, there'll only be a bunch of games left for everyone. So, really at the business end of the season now.
Yep.
And, didn't we have some crazy weather conditions over the weekend in the round that just passed?
Exactly, and that was a major factor for a lot of the teams this week. The weather was diabolical, and there was surface water at Combank. There was gale force winds at Wynn Stadium. It was definitely a weekend where the team who dealt with the conditions better was the victor at the end of the day.
It was pouring at the Rabbits Eels game.
Yeah, it was crazy weather all around. So let's start off with the first game of that round, and that was the game with Manly up against Melbourne. Where are we? Here we go. So there we have it. The result was 36-30. If you looked at that score, you would think, oh, gee, that's a close game. But it was actually so one-sided by Manly. They were just running away with this game. It was all
Crazy.
Manly. And then the last 5 minutes, Melbourne went on a scoring spree to bring it a lot closer and left their run too late. But and Manly obviously just shut up shop and stopped playing for those final minutes thinking they'd won the game. But it's an 80-minute game. And as they say, it's not over till the fat lady sings. And Manly were probably giving their fans a bit of a heart attack there at the end.
Yeah, mate. Look, Battle of the Brookvale was what we were expecting, you know what I mean? A nice, tight, close contest, but it was more like a slaughter in that first 70 minutes by the Manly boys. And, I'm sure Bellyache would be fuming at the mouth that they started their run with 5 minutes ago. I mean, you'd have to be thinking, where were you with 10 minutes ago at least, you know what I mean? Because another minute in that game and Storm would have taken that off Manly for sure.
Yeah, well, I thought Pappenhausen had a rare poor game to start with. He was like off the just not on the mark. Just was missing
Not
things,
focused.
not focused. Kind of just seemed to be disjointed with his usual game and missing kicks and not catching, like standing there like that one. What's going on between you and your winger not communicating? That's always the fullback's ball as he's coming forward towards it, where the fullback is coming backwards. So it was just kind of, he just seemed to be off his game. But then he switched on later on and was actually could have won it for him at the very end. There was a kick put in the grubber in the in goal, and the ball stayed in the in goal, and he could actually picked it and run 100 metres, but his foot was over the dead touching goal line, and he realised that he had an opportunity. It was like, oh, what am I doing? But it was all too late. Manly were definitely the better team on the night.
Yeah, it was 36-12, mate, with 5 minutes to go. So that's absolutely crazy that they got back to 36-30. Harry Grant top of the tackle count with over 50 tackles, and a shout out offensively to Kohler bagging a double, and Jason Saab also bagging a double. I also thought my standouts were Cherry Evans. He had a big game. Olakawatu and Ryan Pappenhausen towards the end was a bit of a standout for me there too, and they just couldn't get it done. So well done to the Manly Seagulls there.
Yeah, well done to the Manly Seagulls, as you said. 8,000, poor crowd there at Manly at Four Pines Park. But as I said, they would have seen an exciting game, scoring 74th, 77th, 78th and 79th minute Melbourne. But as you said, up till that point, it was pretty much all Manly, leading 18-6 at half-time. And goal kicking was obviously an issue for both teams. Manly only getting 3 out of 7, where Melbourne got 3 out of 6. Cherry Evans also getting a penalty goal. That was the conversions that I mentioned. But Melbourne will be very disappointed with that performance. Not there for the first 70 minutes of the game pretty much. And Manly too good, running out winners 36-30. In what I said, the scoreline kind of showing a bit closer of a game than really what it was for the majority of the match. All right, then game 2 of the round was the Newcastle Knights up against the Gold Coast Titans. This was played in Newcastle at McDonald Jones Stadium in front of another low crowd, 8,500 fans there. It was, down here in Sydney and across Newcastle anywhere, pretty much in the East Coast was diabolical weather. But says ground conditions were good, but I don't recall it being that fantastic. It wasn't as bad as some of the other games on the Saturday and Sunday, but nevertheless, Newcastle putting on a big score, 38-12 against the Titans, who it's about time for Newcastle fans. They get a win there at their home ground in front of their home fans. But what's happened to the Titans this year? They were a top 8 team last year.
Yeah,
and
crazy
now they're
this one's
coming last.
But both these teams made semi-finals last year, mate. Both of these teams, and now they're battling. They were battling each other in this game to steer a little bit away from the spoon. So, I just don't know where the Titans have gone wrong this year. We had some big expectations. I thought I think I had them in my 8 this year.
I think I did too.
And they've just dropped the ball, mate. They just haven't. They lost a few games by close scores, but they just, as a team, they haven't turned up each game. So, yeah, things not looking good for the boys up there in the Gold Coast. Mentioned Edric Lee scoring 5 tries on the night. First
Newcastle player to do so.
Yep. And Dominic Young on the other side got himself a hat-trick. So it was the night of the wingers for the Knights there.
Exactly, and they did well. And the conversions, there was only 3 out of 8 tries converted. So you add another 10 points onto that. It's 48-12 points were missed by the goal kickers. There weren't easy conditions, but Titans just really. They scored 2 tries in the space of 5 minutes in the middle of the second half, but really it was all over by half time. Knights leading 22-0. Jared Wallace got sent off in the 70th minute from the Titans. Clemmer also got sin-binned at the same time because of a dangerous tackle. And Clemmer came in as a third man and got sin-binned for that. But I think Wallace might have a bit of a problem there. But
for sure, mate.
It's
something to answer for.
Big scoreline. The Knights doing their coach a favour, getting a win, where Justin Holbrook on the other side of things for the Titans is in doubt. His position is on the line, and there are questions being asked about whether or not he should maintain his position there as head coach of the Titans.
For sure. Yeah, look, he's under a lot of pressure now. I don't think it's going to be long before we see him exit that club, the way things are looking for him. Just a quick mention, Knights hadn't won at home since round 2 this year, so that was a very important win for them, and they done it in style. So well done to the Knights. Yeah,
exactly. Then we look at game 3 of the round, and this was the Panthers up against the Roosters, a big match. Weren't great conditions there in Penrith, but the Panthers managing to get a win 26-18 in front of 16,700 fans there at Bluebet Stadium. This was an exciting game, unfortunately marred by some diabolical refereeing decisions. The Panthers led 14-6 at half-time. Could have been anybody's game, but there was a decision by the referee on a dangerous tackle that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And as a Rabbitohs fan, I couldn't care less whether the Roosters get poor decisions against them or not. Yep. But even as a person who doesn't really, is happy to see the Roosters lose, I thought they were hard done by with the penalty that was given for a dangerous tackle. I mean, we'll probably see it here in the lead up to the Panthers' try. The penalty led to a try. It was a dangerous tackle that was nothing but a tackle that he went over his shoulder, and there was nothing the tackler could do about it.
Absolutely nothing.
And Jared Sutton blew the penalty, and it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. There were some other penalties and 6-agains that were given that favoured the Panthers. I'm fine with those. The Roosters are known for pushing the envelope when it comes to being offside time and time again, especially on their goal line. They like to try to put an attacking team off their plays by giving them 6 agains and changing things up a bit. Yeah. But the tackle penalty, that was ridiculous. Even this sin bin was a bit controversial, but
definitely.
Try scoring opportunity. He pulled a player back and could have been a try, so I can understand that being a sin bin, but it was 4 tackles earlier in the set.
And you're right, Steve. If anyone's not going to defend the Rabbitohs, it's me and you. But
the Roosters, you mean?
Sorry. The Roosters, it's me and you, but some real blatant bad calls from the adjudicators.
Exactly.
Sorry, Siasu Takiaho, mate. What a big game he had, Steve.
Yeah, he did. Takiaho is a forward. He's one of those damaging runners at
front rower.
Yeah.
He scored 1 try. He ran for 220 metres and made over 40 tackles, mate. That's a massive effort by him. I thought Victor Radley had some brilliant moments in defence where he put on some real bell ringers. Little Api Coruscant topped the tackle count with 53 tackles, and I just thought all in all it was a pretty exciting game, man. Even with those dodgy calls, it was 2 of the heavyweights, so to speak, and I thought they put on a show for the fans. Yeah,
and the Origin stars really came out and showed their wares. To'o and Coruscant, Cleary all played pretty well, and I thought this was going to be a closer game than it was, but just the weight of defence and the weight of possession by the Panthers due to the 6 agains and penalties and that kind of just went in their favour.
The Panthers had 13 players backing up from rep duties. Do you believe that?
Yeah, well, with the international games and Origin and that, it was
almost the full team.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I think it was 12 of their starting lineup were backing up from rep duties of one kind or another.
Incredible,
so, well done to the Panthers. Again, winning there at home, and their fans were, just living the life there in Penrith.
Unstoppable at home, mate.
Exactly. So, well done to the Panthers, getting another victory in front of their home crowd. Then the game that was marred by bad weather, and the surface there at CommBank Stadium was a swimming pool with the Dogs up against the Sharks at CommBank Stadium in front of 8,837 fans. This one went the way I thought it would. I thought the Dogs would be pretty brave, but Sharks winning 18-6 in what was a sloshy, wet weather affair.
Yeah, mate, it was crazy weather out of this game. I mean, I looked at the ground a couple of times, and just from the light shining off it, it almost looked like snowman. It was really crazy. I'd never seen that before, but it led to a game that had a lot of everything in it, man. I thought Dogs hung in there. It wasn't a big score, 18-6. They finished. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it was 6-6 at half time. So it was
6-6 at half time. So Dogs were always in the contest. Yeah. But the wingers for the Sharks, Mulatalo and Katoa, mate, they can just find the try line when they get them the balls there. And did you see the little Casey that was on debut, that young kid Casey?
Yes, yep.
Mate, I felt sorry for him. He had a bit of a shocker. He lost the ball a few times.
He did. Then he got knocked out.
And then right at the end, he got knocked out cold and got taken off the field. Yeah. So he'd be looking forward to his next game after that.
If he even remembers his first game. His second game might feel like his first because he probably has no memory of the first one, but which is sad. But yeah, like I said, the conditions here were pretty woeful. I'm surprised that CommBank isn't a better surface than that. Considering it's a new stadium, that the drainage doesn't deal better with the ground, because we were both out at the Stadium Australia, or Accor Stadium as it's called now, and that wasn't as bad as what we saw here.
Oh, it was amazing compared to CommBank, man.
Yes.
It looked really good, yeah.
So well done to both teams for in trying conditions, but the Sharks just too good.
Yep, they were. I thought Nico Hines stepped up and had a bit of a better game for the Sharks this week.
Yeah, he did. He seemed to be a bit more involved.
Yeah.
Then the fifth game of the round was the Cowboys up against the Broncos in what I thought would be a much closer game, but this was played in Townsville at Queensland Country Bank Stadium in front of a great crowd of 23,531 fans. The weather a lot better up there in North Queensland than it is down here in Sydney. Even in southeast Queensland had a bit of weather, but great atmosphere and conditions up there in what is a local derby. And the Cowboys were only leading 10-8 at half time. It was pretty much anyone's game, but the second half was a different matter altogether. Reynolds didn't have that great a game. He started off throwing an intercept pass for a Griffin Neem try, I think it was. Or no, it was Murray Taulagi, I think it was his try that was the intercept. And then he kicked out on the full on the restart. And then from a dropout, also kicked out on the full. So he wasn't having one of his better games.
Wasn't his best game.
But he's still a class act nevertheless. But 40-26, high-scoring affair. Cowboys just too good.
Yeah, it was a sellout crowd for the Queensland Derby, which was really good to see. And, it was a great contest, but the Cowboys just in the end ran away with it. They were too good. I thought Reece Robson was really good for the Cowboys once again. And Jeremiah Nanai and Selwyn Cobbo, mate. What an absolute... I mean, he's one of those players that you just know when he gets the ball, something's going to happen, and you just love watching play, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And Corey Oates got a double, as did Murray Taulagi for the Cowboys. So, it was... Cowboys, you can just look at the Cowboys and see that they're all playing for one another. When there's a break or a kick put through, there are more Cowboy jerseys in the picture than the opposition at any stage of the game because they're all busting their gut to do 100%. Whatever they can to win it for their team. And I think that's the difference between the Cowboys last year and the Cowboys this year. So well done to the Cowboys.
Really stepped it up this year.
Yeah, getting another victory there and doing well in the top 4. All right, the next game was the one that you and I were at. This was on Saturday night at Accor Stadium in front of 10,102 fans. Like I said, it was atrocious conditions. The rain was bucketing down pretty much the entire game. And the Rabbitohs just... obviously, I'm very happy with the way that they played and they're getting the victory against your Eels. But I just thought that they played the conditions better than the Eels did. They didn't do anything special. They just didn't drop the ball, held on to it, and like I said, just played the conditions so much better than the Eels did.
Yeah, as you said, me and you were at this game, and I'm not going to say shocked. I always expect something like this out of the Eels every now and again, but to just they never looked in it, Steve.
No, that's it.
From the first minute, they looked like they had arrived. With that attitude they have every second week. I don't know what's going on with them. All credit to the Bunnies, but they absolutely stepped up and gave it to Parramatta. Parramatta missed 33 tackles in that game, so it's just not good enough. I thought Alex Johnson again was unbelievable. He's just great, and welcome back Latrell. Whilst he didn't really do anything too spectacular, he was very, very strong and just done all the right things, passed at the right time, kicked at the right time, whatever. And I thought little Damien Cook had another stellar game.
Yeah. When it was 12-6, South led 12-6 just before the halftime break. I was thinking, gee, with the amount of possession and field position that South have had, they should have been a bit further ahead. And then Alex Johnson scores that intercept try right before halftime. So it's 18-6 at the break. I felt a little bit better about the scoreline and where we were at. And then in the second half, it was pretty much to and fro. Nobody scoring for the first 20 minutes of that second half. Here's that intercept, which was silly by Mitchell Moses. A tap on in under a lot of pressure there. But until Jackson Paulo scored in the 60th and then Damien Cook in the 65th, it was pretty much all over at that point. And then Gutherson got a late consolation try. But as he said, Eels never really seemed in it, and I always felt pretty comfortable from the second half onwards that South were pretty much going to win the game. I didn't feel like Parramatta were really putting any pressure on the team to come back at any stage. So
very disappointing. And I'm a little bit more critical, but our wingers, their defence was absolutely shocking. Both our wingers, they never looked like anything was happening. And my question My question is, where was Brownie? Where was little Dylan Brown in this one?
Yeah,
where
he
was
went
Mitchell
missing.
Moses?
Yeah.
Our halves are supposed to take control in tough times like this, and I felt like both of them just went missing, and Rabbitohs made them pay for every little mistake they made. So, yep, well done to the Rabbits in the end there, 30-12.
And there was, Latrell Mitchell here. This one, where he bumped off Reed Marnie, and then went through. And you saw anything that was all over by this point, but they just kept turning up for each other. And then Cook with his speed and the conditions just go over for what was a really good try. And I was really impressed with South's handling in this game. Even Tom Burgess, who is usually a bit of a butterfingers for us, had an awesome game, held on to the ball and made some great tackles. So I was really impressed with the effort all round by the Rabbitohs.
Quick question, Steve, before we wrap them up. Nathan Merritt was one of your best wingers. Where do you rate Alex Johnson next to him? Do you rate him in front of him yet?
Yeah, I think I do at this point. Well, he's scored more tries than anybody else in the South Sydney jersey in the history of a club that's been around for over 100 years. So
okay, but I feel like Alex Johnson got a lot better...
he had a lot better players around him to help him out.
A lot better what they give it to him.
Assistance,
you know what I mean? I felt like Merritt had to work a lot harder throughout his career to get some of the tries he scored for us.
You look at Merritt's, over the years, he's been top try scorer at points where Souths were the team coming last. So, Merritt, and I'll never forget that field goal that he kicked against the Tigers at the SCG one day, where it was never meant to go to him. Yeah, so he's definitely still up there as one of the best.
So you're going AJ.
Just because of the record. But the Eels and the Rabbitohs, the Eels cannot win against South Sydney. Since 2019, you haven't beaten us. And this was the lowest score line, 30-12, during that time. We've had some blowouts. So
definitely some big scores.
Got the wood over the Eels, but not unhappy about that.
All right,
thank you. Then we look ahead to the 7th game of the round, and that was the Warriors back home at Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland in front of 26,009 fans against the Tigers, 22-2. This was just a one-sided affair. It wasn't the greatest game, great atmosphere, but happy for the Warriors to get that win there, happy for them to get back home in front of their family and friends, leading 14-2 at halftime. They just went on with it in the second half, and the Tigers still just have nothing.
Yeah, as you said, first game back at New Zealand, so it was real kind of special for them walking out. I believe the first time in 3 years.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, with first COVID and everything, they've been based in Australia for all that time.
So, well done to the Warriors for doing what they've done for our game for all those years.
Yeah, massive sacrifice.
Massive sacrifice. It was good to see them finally at home with their local supporters around them. I thought Sean Johnson finally stepped up for them in this game. It was Bunty Afoa's 100th game.
I know, I was going to mention that. The newcomer, 100 games.
So good little milestone there for Bunty. I thought, for the Warriors to hold them scoreless, it was a massive effort, absolutely massive effort in front of their home crowds. And Joe Ofahangawi made a massive 60 tackles in this game.
Yeah, we just saw a big shot that he put on there, so well done to him. That's really a lot of tackles. Adam Dewey getting the only 2 points for the Tigers.
Yeah, I felt like he made a bit of a difference for them, but they're just, I don't know what else to say about them.
They're directionless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to you before, I believe Casey Badger was the video ref in this game, and there was a couple of really not so good calls, mate, which I think they need to have a look at and see what's going on. Yeah,
good for the captain there, Tohu Harris, who was captain on the day, getting the first try back at Mount Smart Stadium for them. So well done to the Warriors, and I've got the background behind me. It was a great day out there for them. Blue skies there in New Zealand. Which was a nice change watching.
The Warriors.
So well done. And then the final game of the round was at a horrible wind stadium. The surf in the background looked so choppy. The wind, there were 2 Raiders fans sitting up on the hill getting blown around like crazy. The Dragons won 12-10 in a close affair, and it was a controversial game as well. Ricky Stewart not happy in the post-match conference. 7,069 hardy fans out there in what was not only rainy but windy. There was a gale force wind blowing from behind the Dragons in the first half. They took advantage of that in the second half with their dropouts and goal line restarts. It was just a crazy, crazy old game.
Yeah, absolutely terrible conditions here at Wynn Stadium. Props out to the players, mate, because they were playing in it.
Trying conditions.
we were just sitting at home watching this one. I thought Joseph Darpenny had a big game, making 46 tackles.
So hard to put down too when he's got the ball.
Yeah, he is. He's very strong and awkward to get down. There was a freakish try, that one right there.
Yeah, exactly, the drop out.
Batted it back. They had ruled that it's gone over the 10 metres, and he batted it back straight to, what's that player's name again, Steve?
That's Teletau Amon.
And Amon went in to score one of the easiest tries he'll ever score in his life.
He positioned himself smartly. He was like,
definitely.
If there's a bat back here, I'm going to be one catching it, and he did well. It was good anticipation.
100%. I also thought Xavier Savage really played well for the Raiders that game. And Moses Sully for the Dragons. The last play was very controversial.
Well, I mean, seriously, we've got this 6 again rule, in when you're outside your 40, and it's, it's to keep the game flowing nicely, but the referee still is within his rights to blow a penalty if he wants to. It doesn't have to be 6 again. 6 again is the preferred option, but if it's a professional foul, you're intentionally lying all over the player, trying to delay the ball, then he's got to blow a penalty. He just didn't have the guts or the courage to do so at a pivotal time in the game. It was 1 minute to go. The Raiders down by 2 points, and the Dragons, he's smart. What's his name? The halfback, Ben Hunt. He flopped in like so late on the last tackle, and the referee did 6 again, which, he's lying on him for 6 seconds or whatever, trying to get the clock winding down, because he knows the referee is just going to go 6 again. Raiders don't even have a chance to do another play the ball, and when they do, he jumps out of first marker and tackles the dummy half in an offside position. He might have been square at one stage, but he was definitely offside, and the ball hadn't cleared the ruck by the time he's scooted around and tackled the dummy half, and the referee just calls time off with the hooter. You've got to have the guts to blow a penalty there and allow the game to go 12-all. A big deal. It goes 12-all. You're going to break the rules. You're going to cop the punishment.
Yeah, no, 100%. That was a penalty any day of the week. There was about...
Here it is here. Look, he flops on. How late is that as a flop?
Yeah, 5 different infringements in the one play. It was nothing but a professional foul. Should have been a penalty goal right in front there for the Raiders. And, I don't blame Ricky Stewart for blowing up about it because... Like you said, the ref, all right, he's got someone in his ear, but you get paid to do a job, mate, and you need to have the courage to put your whistle to your mouth in those circumstances. And
make the call. Yeah, Diabolical. So, and there are coaches losing their jobs. We've already had 3 coaches already sacked this year. You've got Holbrook on his last legs there at the Titans. And, it's a results-driven game. If the Raiders don't make the 8, not that Ricky is necessarily in any danger of losing his job, but, 2 points is 2 points. And this is a close game that they could have won if they'd gone a golden point, and anything could have happened.
And definitely both teams needed the win.
Yeah, so it's disappointing that the referees are not, backing their decisions and doing what's needed at the time. Yeah, and they've come out and admitted that those decisions were wrong in the referee's boss, so that's not good enough.
I've always said there needs to be a judiciary for the refs as well, like not to the extent of the rugby league players, but I mean if someone has a really, really bad game, they should be set out for a week and lose 1 week's pay because, while they're still human beings, there's some calls that are just unforgivable sometimes, mate, and I believe that they need to be punished so they learn a lesson for next time.
Yeah, I mean, it should be stood down, and the problem is we don't have many great referees to step up and take their place.
Me and you will do it, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We'll get hung out to dry if we do that. But let's have a look at the ladder where we stand at this point in the season. Round 16, yes. Panthers sitting pretty 6 points clear of the Melbourne Storm now that the Melbourne Storm lost that game against Manly. The Cowboys and Melbourne sitting both on 24 points. Then you got the Sharks sitting in 4th place on 22 points. Broncos drop out of the 4 with that loss, and they're on 20 points, equal with the Eels. And then the Rabbitohs on 18 points, as are the Dragons. And that is the top 8 clear cut. And then just outside on 16 points, you've got Manly, and behind them, Roosters and Canberra both on 14 points. 2 teams that lost in controversial circumstances this week. Then you got the Knights on 12, Warriors on 10, Dogs and Tigers on 8, and then the Titans sitting last on 6 points.
Crazy old, the ones down the bottom, they're
gone for the season.
They're gone, skis, mate. There's no way back.
Yep. All right, so that's the ladder at this point in the season. And then we have a bye round, so we've got a lot of teams not playing this week, but we do have 4 games to look at for round 17, and they start with the Sharks up against the Storm. This is at PointsBet Stadium in Sydney, obviously the Sharks' home ground, and this will be played on Thursday night at 7:50 p.m. Both teams will be affected by Origin selections. I think Melbourne will probably still be too good, and they still have some classy players in there, and will be disappointed with their loss against Manly. So I'm expecting them to, in a close affair, beat the Sharks.
Fair enough. I've gone the other way, Steve. I think with their Origin players out, Sharks will just get the money on them this time round.
Fair enough. Then the next game of the round, the Knights up against the Rabbitohs. This is at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle on Friday at 7:55 p.m. kickoff. The Rabbitohs have got 3 players out with Origin duties. The Knights, I'm not sure. Ponga obviously is one of them, but probably less affected. But still, I'm expecting the Rabbitohs to be too good against Newcastle, and I'll be tipping the Rabbitohs to win.
Yeah, I've got the Rabbits here, Steve, and so put me down for the Rabbits. And while we're on the Rabbits, what were your thoughts about Latrell's taking himself out of Origin Game 3 quickly?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I love the fact that he's saying I want to put South first and repay them, and I've only just come back from injury, and I wasn't there last year for the run to the grand final, so he probably feels like he owes South Sydney something. He might have also had a quiet conversation with Freddie about whether or not he would have been picked for the Blues with all this, as it was, Whiten missed out, and you've got Crichton and Burton there who won the game for the Blues in game 2. So Latrell, with only 1 game under his belt and not fully match fit, would have been maybe a possible inclusion, but I think he's probably gone, let's play it smart, say, look, I'm not putting my name up for selection. Whether or not you can or can't do that, it's still up for debate. A lot of people saying you have to make yourself available, but I kind of don't think that he would have been selected. I know he's Latrell and he's great and he's, a player who can do anything in Origin, but I think it was a smart call by him, and as a Rabbitohs fan, I'm happy for him to stand out of Origin.
Of course.
And as a Blues fan, I don't think that they necessarily needed him.
Look, a lot of people blowing up saying, how can you turn down that if you were to be picked, this and that. But my honest opinion is I believe that's one of the maturest things I've ever seen Latrell do or say. And it just goes to show he's grown as a player. And to actually, game 3, I think he feels like the team that's there deserves the opportunity to finish the job and this and that. So I thought it was a really good move by Latrell, and like you said, as a Bunny supporter, no complaints there.
Yeah, exactly. So well done. I think it's a great. It doesn't matter what Latrell does, whether it's good or bad. People are always bagging him. He just seems to not be able to win a trick, with some segments of the media always wanting to jump down his throat. But I was impressed with his maturity there. So, well done. Okay, the next game of the round is the Tigers up against the Eels. This is at Leichhardt Oval, the 8th wonder of the world, they call it. This is Saturday, 9th of July, 7:35 p.m. kickoff. Eels have a few missing from Origin, I believe, mainly Paulo.
Yeah.
Other than that, there really isn't too much of an effect on the Eels from Origin.
Well, Guth's not there too.
But he'll be able to play because he's not actually in the starting side for
Right.
Origin. So they will release him to play.
Right.
So I expect this is pretty much one of the most unaffected games from Origin. And I think the Eels will be disappointed with their loss to the Tigers the first time around and to the Rabbitohs this past weekend. So put me down for an Eels victory.
For sure, man. Yeah, look, this is a risky one. Tigers are always risky when they're struggling and it's at Leichhardt, and
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried about this, but I gotta say the Eels will have to bounce back if they're any chance of staying in top contention for the run home this year.
Yeah, all right. And then we have the final game of the round, the Broncos up against the Dragons. This is at Suncorp Stadium. Both teams affected by Origin. Ben Hunt, obviously, for the Dragons, and Broncos a lot more. But this could be a dicey one. This could be tricky for the Broncos. You know, Reynolds is still there. I don't know what game fit he is at the moment. But and being at Suncorp, I'm just going to go Broncos just from home ground advantage.
I'm going to go Dragons for an upset.
Okay. All right, then we've got Origin, Wednesday, 13th of July. And this is a big match. The decider played at Suncorp Stadium. A massive boost for the Queenslanders playing in front of their home crowd. There's such a different team when they're playing at Suncorp Stadium. The logo should be the other way around. There should be a There should be a new. There you go. Queensland over on this side of the thing. I'm going to go Blues victory just because I'm a New South Welshman and I think they're going to be a better team again from what they were in Game 2. Queensland will obviously want to bounce back, but I'm going to go a close one, Blues.
Okay, yeah. Look, my heart's telling me Blues, and I want them to win so badly, but it's not going to be any easy feat up there for Game 3 at Suncorp.
Thoughts on the teams?
On the teams, yeah. Look, a couple of changes in there, which we all expected, but
not many. I mean, for the Queenslanders, there's only the inclusion of Thomas Flegler. Tom Gilbert. Yep. He's come in because of an injury. Oh, what's his name? Kafusi missing out.
For the Blues, I mean.
For the Blues, they've kept the same centre pairing with Burton and Crichton there, and they've kept the same hooker situation with Damien Cook coming off the bench for Apisai Coruscant. The only big thing for me was obviously Jordan McLean coming in at prop because of what's his name being injured, Payne Haas.
Yes.
I don't know what RCG. I obviously didn't have a great game against South and didn't do that great in Game 1, but I thought maybe he could have come back in. But I'm happy for Jordan McLean. We need a big body there in the front row for the Blues.
For sure.
And
I thought Wyden.
He was unlucky.
I would have put Wyden back into the centres and
in
taken
place.
Crichton out.
The thing is, Jack Whiten is a left centre, a left centre where Crichton plays on the right.
Right.
So you can't. He doesn't play on the right hand side. I know you probably
because Matt Burton's a
left centre, left footer. So that's why.
So that's what they've gone.
That's what they've gone for. So you can understand the decisions there. So and you don't change a winning combination, I guess.
No.
So Whiten's unlucky, but I can understand the thinking behind the team selections.
It's going to be an exciting game either way, man.
Yeah, indeed. And that's it. That's it for the round. That's it for the episode. A longer one this week because we've discussed a round of games and want to talk about the Eels Rabbitohs game at length, but we also had the Origin to discuss. So awesome episode. Thanks everyone for watching Chip and Chase, our 19th episode of this NRL Fan Podcast. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you very much, Steve. Look forward to the round this week, watching those 4 games. Even though it's Origin, I'm sure all teams will turn up and give the spectators a show, hopefully.
Yeah, so the rest of those teams will play in the rest that the next time they have. Well, they've already had their bye, so that's it. Everyone's had their byes after this week, so it will be full steam ahead after Origin for the remainder of the NRL season as we head towards the business end of the season, as they say. But that's it for this episode. Thanks, Dave. Look forward to talking with you next week.
Thanks, Steve. Keep watching footy, guys and girls. Turn on your TVs.
And get out to the games if you can. Appreciate you watching our podcast. As always, we'll catch you next week. See you, Dave.
See you, Stevie. Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.